Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. So glad that you joined us on Act 3 today. Hey, listen, you are listening to CHLY 101.7 FM. You already knew that. I know you did. But if you're listening to us on YouTube, welcome. We're super glad that you came to the show as well. So today, my guest is Shalema Gantt. She is with the Nanaimo African Heritage Society. And we've got lots to unpack in today's conversation. So welcome to the program. How are you, Shalema?
Hi there. How are you, Kathy?
I'm terrific. How are you?
When I'm hanging there, raindrops are falling on my head, but I'm smiling.
That was such a popular song for such a long time.
I was singing it so much. I couldn't believe I knew the words today.
Oh, that's terrific. You know what? It's great that and even through a little bit of rain, the sunshine always ends up coming out.
Oh yeah. The sunshine is always out there, but the rain is just, I try to make beauty out of whatever happens, right? Wherever you can find the beauty. Sometimes when you're home or you're in your office, you can kind of organize a little bit because you're not wanting to go out and get wet. So it's cool. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that you're on the show. Can't wait to unpack all the really groovy things that you do within community. Can we start though with the African Heritage Society and how that came about, and give us a little bit of history about that?
Well, the African Heritage Society over the years have become a little bit different, and as it grows and matures. 21 years. I just came here and start living in this beautiful land, Canada, and start living here in Nanaimo, 1999. And before that, I was here. So I think it's about 30 years have gone by, like, woo. And and at the time we were taking some courses up at Malaspina then. Now it's the Vancouver Island University. But and I just felt like an alien sometimes because I didn't see a lot of Black people. And so it's a little weird. I'm from New York, so I'm used to seeing a lot of brown and Black and beautiful people. And so I didn't see a lot. And so my question was, where are the Black people? And so I was at the university and I met a wonderful lady there who was a professor, and she was a Black lady. And actually she was doing some things on Black history for Black History Month, which is February. And then she retired, and I thought, well, we need to continue that. What happened? So there's a male Black man, everybody knows him. He was a teacher here, wonderful elder that passed away, I think now about 2 years gone, he's gone. But he walked up to me one day and gave me a resource guide of Black pioneers, British Columbia's Black pioneers.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was so cool because when I opened it, there was pioneers, there were lawyers, there were doctors, there was our first city councilman, there were pioneers that had been here. So I thought, oh my God, they're not extinct. We do have Black people and there is a history here.
Yes.
So I got really interested, and I did not particularly like the, I was going back to take adult basic education in a university, and I didn't particularly like their curriculum because their curriculum to me suggested that if you're in your 30s and over, that you live a life of crime or you live a life of poverty or you're in welfare, you're blah, 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 blah. And the stories were not inspiring to me.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So having this learning disability, I would come with stories or things that I had to produce in my course, and I would write about this wonderful book, that this resource guide that was given to me about a Black teacher in the community. And so my teachers would say to me, you didn't write this, did you? And I would say, no, I didn't write it, but that is my language, how I interpret the book.
Yes.
And they would say, but you didn't write this. And I would go, why you don't believe that I didn't write it? And they said, because you have a learning disability. I said, are you kidding me? You're teaching learning disability and you don't know how wonderful the mind can be, how we all
Absolutely.
learn and do things
Yes.
differently. So went to my professors and asked them if I could use this as my subject. And they let me. They let me use this wonderful pioneer book. I have one here. I can kind of show it to you. It's really kind of cool. And then Nanaimo African Heritage Society was born. We got about 95 people. We put a call out
Yeah.
to see if anybody was interested in hearing about Black history. And we got a bevy of, we got about 95 folks that showed up to a little, the staff that the professor had. They got on board with me and they helped me to bring these people to the university. And we had such a diverse group of people that showed up. You know, we had
Wow.
people that were half German and half Black and half First Nation and half Black, and all these people that all these dimensions of Black and Brown people and had an interest in Black history. So that it was born from there.
Oh.
And I wanted to bring it in mainstream down. You know, there was so much that we could do in the university. There was programs that we put on, there were shows that we put on, and always been learning the Black history through arts and culture.
Sure. Yeah.
So you talk about the pioneers and how they came and how they do that. And you can interpret it sometimes through the music and make a gala out of it. That's how the gala came about. So we started doing different events surrounding Black history in February. And here we are 21 years later.
Incredible.
We did skip to 2021 because of the pandemic, right?
Of course.
But we discovered something new, and it was doing the virtual. Had a wonderful experience doing a virtual gala.
So did you have to cut the amount of people that you were hoping to with the virtual gala? How did you present? What did you do?
I'm not sure if it cut it. I think it grew the audience, because when you do a virtual gala, you can be all over the world.
That's right. Your borders are gone.
Your
Yeah.
borders are gone. And
Yeah.
so that was, I got in touch with this wonderful production company in Toronto, and somebody had worked with them before. I never knew anything about it. We pulled this together in 3 months.
Wow, that's incredible.
And you can go online. It's online. It's for the first time in a long time, I could put on my pajamas and have champagne. You know, I was at my virtual gala with pajamas on, and I had champagne. It was absolutely wonderful.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You know what I've noticed, though, in all fairness, there's considerably more Black people in the eastern side of Canada than there is in the west of Canada. We don't see many Black people on the West Coast. And so how did you find, like, how did people become connected to you? Was it just word of mouth, or like, how did you get to be, how did the people come forward?
I go to where they are.
Yes.
And I bring them. So there were lots of families that lived here. You have children that have gone from far away places and came here to go to the university.
Yeah.
And there was never a lot of activities that maybe they had an interest. I'm not sure what that was all about. But I knocked on doors, and I went to homes, and I went to communities. And I told them about the society, and I promoted the society, and I send out emails, and I send out letters, and I invite people to come to Nanaimo. And now, of course, as you know, the population has grown.
Yes.
And so have the population of Black people has grown. Yeah. But the thing about it, for me, it's not about just Black people, it's about people in general.
Of course, absolutely.
Because the information is our information, it's our pioneers, it's not just the Black folks pioneers. So a lot of the people have an interest, and I find it really astounding, the interest in it. And and a lot of those folks are not necessarily Black, right?
No, absolutely. I think that there is an opportunity to learn about history, no matter where you're from or how it comes to you. And people are open to learning more and more about it all the time. Because you're quite right. There's a lot of misinformation
Yeah.
about people, and it's not just for Black people, but people of Asian descent is the same. People of Persian, our First Nations communities. There's such a wide range of misinformation that it becomes frustrating after a while to hear people, respectfully, white people, white Caucasian people, talking about issues that they may not have a genuine understanding about.
You got to get to know your neighbors. You got to get to know
Do.
people. And, and there,
Yeah.
like you said, there's a lot of miscommunication. I was really blessed when I came to this country to get to know First Nation people,
Yeah, me too.
because we don't have a big population of First Nation people in the United States,
Yeah.
But here in Canada, I was able to work with some of the chiefs and work with the children in teaching modeling, because that's my background, modeling and performing and so on. So
Yeah.
the performing art has always been something that I incorporated with the education of the pioneers of this land, and
Mhm.
also involving other people, bringing diversity to the table, not necessary. I mean, it does my heart good when I'm in a room and the room is full of people,
Yes.
all the fruits and all the flavors that God has put on this earth. Uh,
Yes.
my heart is singing when I see that.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah, that's what I try to do with the society. People don't understand. You have, like you said, if I don't understand something, Kathy, I go out and I ask questions.
Yes, exactly. And that's what, in my opinion, what intelligent people do. Intelligent people ask the question. And I know for myself that sometimes it might be a hard question. It might be a question that I feel uncomfortable. I've had many conversations with some First Nations elders, particularly, and I've said to them point blank, I am coming from a direction of not knowing anything.
Yeah,
Please help me understand
yeah,
so that I can be
yeah,
better informed in the bigger picture. And when you present it that way, it's not the responsibility of other people to teach you, but if you're honest with them and say, I just don't know, help me. The gifting is
yeah,
beyond sublime. People
yeah.
are so good to share.
I have lots of friends. I have a lot of Caucasian friends.
Yeah.
I've had people working with me and even working in the office, and
Mhm.
they will make what I want to be nice about this, but they will make the most stupidest comment I have ever heard in my life. I'm go like, really?
Yeah, I know.
Really? Do you really believe that?
Yeah.
Like, let me give you some information, and you don't feel like you want to be a teacher all the time, but sometimes the silly things that come out of people's mouths,
Yeah.
and how people don't realize how much we have. We are human. We have so much in common.
Yeah.
Just because of the different colors of the skin or the culture, the same stories can be written if you went to anybody's culture. The same kind of story can be written, right?
Absolutely. No question about that in my mind. But it is true how people have this idea, and some of it is based on Hollywood, some of it is based on, again, misinformation of being in areas where people just don't know and they don't have the courage to ask. And so I invite people to, take a step and figure it out. But you also said that you're from New York. Some of my very best friends are from New York. I love New York so much. It's such a rich it's such a rich city, and on every single level it's such a rich city. What made you decide to move from New York to Canada? Because that's a leap, especially to the West Coast.
I have no idea. I'm just following. I have no idea. I'm just following the journey that I believe I was made to make. I don't know. I came here as a performer. As I said earlier, I sing, I dance, I modeled. And just being young and wanted to experience things. One time, I mean, I've had so many offers to go to Europe, and being a young person, I was a little afraid because of the wars and the different things can break
Yes.
out. And
Yeah.
so I thought, well, Canada is closer to US, so I'll go check that. But I was hired as a performer, so I traveled with on a tour for many years, traveling all around Alberta, traveling around BC, and
Wow.
performing, singing and dancing.
What was your genre? What kind of music do you enjoy to
It
sing?
was a variety show, so I traveled with groups. I did a little bit of gospel, I did a little bit of jazz, I did a little bit of blues. We danced, just all the genres, and it was a variety show. It was like a circus. So people come out eating fire, and people come out dancing, and then somebody
Oh my
comes out
gosh, it
singing.
sounds amazing. So
Yeah,
did
so there
you
was
get an
there was
opportunity to perform, or do you perform very much any longer, or is that just something you've done in the past and you're moving on to bigger and more wonderful things?
Well, I do like to do it once in a while. So I will present myself at the gala, and if we are able to go live again, I like to make sure you have an invitation to the gala.
Please,
And I
please,
usually
please.
perform. I usually sing, or yeah, I try to put myself out there a little bit. But and a few people around town have asked me to come and do special performances, so it's been interesting. It's still in my blood, right?
Congratulations. I don't think it ever leaves our blood. I was a performer
No.
for many years as well. Singing was not my forte, but I was in musical theater for a long time. And
Okay.
there's something about the stage that you never really say goodbye
No.
to the stage. It's always
No.
inherently a part.
Yeah.
But what you've done is what I love about how you have evolved since I met you about 5 years ago. I think it was the first time I met you at a multicultural event
Okay.
that we had downtown. I think was the first time. And a lovely woman by the name of Swan introduced me to you. I don't know if you recall Swan. She was from the Chinese Multicultural Center, and I was
Okay. Yes, I do remember Swan.
an amazing woman. She also has she and her husband Lloyd, I think his name is. They have a
I
radio show as
haven't seen
well.
her in a long
I know,
time.
I know. I
Do-
got lucky and I saw her recently, but I don't get to see her very often anymore either. But she does have a radio show here on CHLY 1017 as well.
Really?
She and her husband have for
Oh,
many, many years.
I'll
So
have to
certainly,
tune in.
definitely tune in. And most of it is delivered. It's hilarious because she will deliver the entire thing in Chinese and he will do it in English and they mix it all together. It's a great show. Anyway, long story short, and so when we met downtown, it was during one of the festivals where multiculturalism was the theme of the festival. And so every
Right.
table had, so many different things. And I was always admiring what you were doing with the African Heritage Cultural Society. And then I didn't, of course, things changed. The business of living has changed, and we haven't been doing festivals or anything for a long time. So I went into the pharmacy near where I live, Medicine Shop Pharmacy, Terminal Park area, and I was talking with the pharmacist, and he was putting together something for me. And I looked down, and on the table was your magazine, which I want to now open up and have a big old conversation about because your magazine, I picked it up and I was like, this is the prettiest book that I think I've ever seen as far as a magazine goes. It was just a beautiful book. Tell us about your magazine.
Well, I'm very proud of my NAHS magazine. Oh, you can't see it right now. I forgot about where.
We're on radio. However, the magazine,
We're
we can actually, it'll show on YouTube as well. So that's okay.
okay.
Put it up. Yeah.
Yeah, again, it was born out of necessity. I was traveling to the States to see my family, and I came back on the ferry, and I looked and looked for something that showed me diversity was
Yes.
in the magazine. And unfortunately, I did not see anything. Everything was very vanilla.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I was chocolate and you would have been vanilla because I couldn't get around white and black. I wasn't black and
No,
you wasn't white, right?
that's
So I
right.
couldn't get around. So I started calling fruit and flavors.
Oh, fabulous. That's a great
I
idea.
could deal with that better.
Yeah.
So I didn't see anything but vanilla,
Yeah.
and I wanted more flavors. I
Yes.
wanted to read about more flavors. I wanted to see more flavor because our island actually depicts flavors, a
Does.
lot of them.
Yes.
And I travel up and down this island selling this wonderful magazine, and it just started to evolve. The first one was I wanted to feature a lot of Black content, and I wanted to feature about Black history. And then it's because I started going out to mom and pops and different kinds of retailers in the community and up
Hmm.
on the island. Of course, I've had a fashion fetish forever. I love fashion. So of course I wanted to put beautiful photographs of girls and guys, the sons and the daughters of our island in the magazine for its fashion. But then I'm interested in food, and I'm interested in furnishings, and I'm interested in so many varieties.
Yeah.
And I thought, why not put it in a magazine? And it's 4 years now.
Yeah.
The Nanaimo African Heritage Society's magazine it's NAHS magazine has been trending on the island. It's doing well.
Well, I think that what I saw in it was your flavor all over it, right? It was like I could see the elegance, which you are very. I love the way you dress. Like I could see that in the magazine. I could see the uniqueness of the stories. The stories were not, things that you might normally read in other magazines. You have a really beautiful sense of flair about the magazine. So how do people find your magazine now?
Well, they can go online,
Mhm.
www. Nanaimo African Heritage Society. We need more readers. We're looking for
Yeah.
more subscribers to the magazine.
Hmm.
We do put them in various places, like if you were a sponsor and you ran advertisement, then you would have, if you have a store, like the airport, Nesfog, who's written articles in our magazine and supported it. Different coffee shops you might find them at, so if you were that, you find them. But mainly you can go online and look any information up about it on our website, and we actually encourage that and invite people to go on.
Oh,
And of course,
absolutely.
anytime they can always call the office if they want to know or want to get or want to become or whatever that way.
Yeah. And it's not hard to find it if people take the time to look, which is the perfect segue in our conversation for people to go grab a piece of paper and a pen so that they can write down your contact information in a few minutes. And that'll allow that to happen. Did you
Okay.
did you find that with COVID that there was any difficulty in getting the magazine out, or did you find that the modeling of the new way we are together, the same as in your last presentation that we spoke about a little bit ago, where you did it over Zoom. Have you found that you've had more challenges or more openness, acceptability? Like, how are people receiving this now?
Well, the magazine for me has been a gift
Yeah.
in so many ways because we were dealing with the pandemic
Yeah.
and we were locked down. Whenever there was an avenue to talk about the magazine, which I had to follow through, I
Yes.
had to be tenacious to keep it going.
Yeah.
It was to open up those discussions because not only the pandemic we came out, Black Lives Matter boom hit us,
Yes. Big time.
It was those beautiful children that was, the indigenous children. All these issues start coming out all around the same time. So it opened up a lot of dialogue. I were able to go in wherever I could go in with my mask and my gloves and all that
Yeah.
and talk to the owners of businesses that would allow that, or to calling them on the phone and talking to them. And the magazine, for most people, are a table conversation. They told me that when they have this magazine on their coffee table, people are drawn to it.
Yes.
And then they open and they flip through it and conversation starts to happen.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was a real thing, that I concentrated on being safe and all that, but I had this passion to carry out
Yes,
and to
absolutely.
talk about the magazine and share the magazine with the island.
Well, I love that it opened up conversations, because you're right. This last couple of years, for everybody on the planet, there's been
Yes.
struggle and strife. And I'm seeing such an incredible resilience in people. I'm glad that you brought the Black Lives Matter up to the table, though. I'm curious what kind of feedback that you received as a Black woman in Nanaimo. Respectfully, was there a lot of conversation about this, or were people more diverting to what they were seeing in the United States and kind of saying, well, that's not happening in Canada, that's a US thing? Like,
Yeah, it's kind of
how was that?
it's kind of a mixture.
Sure.
Sometimes people are a little bit overly polite
Yeah.
about it, and then there's others who don't want to deal with it at all, and those that pretend it's not happening where we are.
Yeah.
And then it's those who are really wanting to there was I went to a lot of Zoom meetings and a lot of conversations and a lot of things about it, and especially in the Black communities, and
Sure.
talk about it. But something out of it that always comes to me: we can't do it alone. We have to do it in unison. We have to be together unitedly.
Yes.
And when I was very, very impressed with Nanaimo, that I was on the stage for Black Lives Matter in the park there.
Matthew Sutton.
Matthew Sutton. There's so many names for that park, isn't it?
I know, I don't really understand, because it's also Swanisat. I think it's Swanisat. Someone is going to say something.
Swilana.
You are
Yeah.
correct.
So I can't.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I'm on stage and I'm looking, and I could not see an empty. I mean, it was for miles and miles across that park. That whole park was completely packed.
Yeah.
That showed me something, and that showed me hope.
Yeah.
And they listened to what people have to say. Now, what they took away, I'm hoping, was the right messages that they took away.
Yeah.
That the only way that we can do this is together, and to have these conversations, and to stop ignorance when we have those conversations, and don't be afraid to have those conversations.
Yeah.
And we must be kinder and considerate to each other. So that's what I got from Black Lives Matter, and that's what I'm continuing to try. I'm a little worried about if it was marketed to market you. You know what I mean? If you were a person who uses Black Lives Matter to push your initiative,
Yeah.
If you're pushing that narrative and you're pushing that initiative for the right reasons, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But if there's some underlying, which we know we have to deal with that underlying all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
All the time. And if you are those persons that are pushing the underlines to get what you need, which means that your real heart is not in it, boo on you, you know, boo on you.
But I like to think, though, that most Canadians, I'm wrong, I'm finding out I'm wrong sometimes in this venue, but I'm seeing that most people are not doing it for their own agenda. Most people are genuinely tired of the racism that's been happening throughout the world, and especially where it's frustrating to me in a couple of ways. The first way is that it's ridiculous to me that in 2022 almost, right? We're in 2021, but almost 2022, that this conversation is still having to happen. That I would have hoped that we would have evolved as a people, where all people were created the same under God, to look after each other, to be kind to each other, regardless of the pigment of our skin, our religious beliefs, our faith-based beliefs, whatever it is that separates people. At the same time, I'm also frustrated that, people will say that we're part of a melting pot, right? That Canada is a melting pot. I don't think that that's fair or rightfully true either, nor should we be a melting pot, because there's something uniquely beautiful about every race on the planet, right? There's something uniquely interesting and gifting of that fabric that makes us so unique in the world. How is it possible that in this day and age we can still use these differences to hurt each other? It's just wrong. I mean, I'll get off my soapbox now. I'm sorry, but it bothers me that people do that at all. I'm
No,
just gobsmacked.
yeah, it's very easy to go on a tangent about the subject because it is, like you said, I'm very sad about that it's still happening, that I still have to even face it and deal with it. On a lot of occasions, I try to pretend that it's not happening when it's in my face.
Of
But
course.
another thing I learned about being a Canadian is that sometimes not having that experience, not having that multicultural experience, because maybe the way some people are brought up, they're not made to go to Mr. Ying's house next door
Yeah.
or an African lady that lives next door. So even if they grew up in a neighborhood, there was this isolation for a while where
Mm.
people sort of went to their own groups. But
Mhm.
with time going by, we see that that doesn't work. We need to make an investment. And sometimes you have to go out of your comfort zone
Yes.
to make that investment to get to know other people. And so, I come from the States where there was loads and everything Black people. So I've been around a lot of Black people. And Black people don't like to hear me say this when I say the strife between Black people has to stop.
Yeah.
There is a conflict between that as well.
Sure.
And that was something that's been brought up in many history books many times about the different shades of Blackness, the different colors, the different cultures, that within its own community has a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my sayings, which I've been told I should not say this, but I'm 60 and I can say what I want to say, long as
You go, girl.
as long as I'm not stepping on people's toes.
No,
I
no,
am
no.
polite. I do
Of
care about
course.
folks,
Of course.
but don't tell me what I can say and what I can't say. And
Yeah,
what I can
yeah,
say,
yeah.
Black lives matter when it matters to Black people.
Yes.
And it matters to everyone.
Mhm.
And I don't want people to misinterpret that. Like, for instance, I had to go to MLA's office about eviction because of
Yes.
recently I was given an eviction notice after living someplace for 10 years,
Yes.
paying my rent on time. My landlord has given me an eviction notice. So I went through the channels, I went through all the landlord tenancy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the girls at the office kind of peeped out the door and kind of talked to me through the door. And
Yeah.
she gave me a paper with a bunch of information. And I followed up on that. And it was a long bevy of just getting nowhere, just
Yeah.
bumping your head, talking to people and getting nowhere.
Yeah.
Um, and I walked away with that. I walked away with a feeling, not necessarily that that was a particular thing that was only happening to Black people,
Mhm.
but it was happening to people in general.
Yes.
But I did feel like the person felt that because I was Black, I felt like I should have had the red carpet thrown out for me because of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
I
goodness.
know I have no thoughts of that. But
No.
her treatment to me made me feel like, because she would say, it's done on first um it it's done on first name basis. I mean, if you know, not first names, first person's basis, um like I expect you to put me in front of 30 people, right? No, I never asked you for that. I'm asking you how I can get help because I've gotten this eviction notice and it was done unfairly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, so some people might think that, oh, well, you know, Black Lives Matter, so we're gonna treat you a little bit awkwardly, or
Mhm.
be a little bit stupid, or treat you a little bit unkind because Black Lives Matter. Well,
Yeah.
yes, Black life does matter, and
Yeah.
nobody is saying that it's the only life that matters, but it matters too. You
Exactly.
know, it
Yeah.
matters too.
Yeah.
So, it's a huge conversation. It's one that you get tired of, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I
eh,
understand.
you got to endure it though.
It's easy to be on the outside looking in. So from the outside, I'm not dealing with those barriers as a white chick, in all fairness. I'm
Mhm.
just not. I know a lot. I grew up with First Nations people and Black people. In my high school, there was one Black woman one Black girl, child, the same age as me, and one First Nations girl, the same age as me. Uh,
Wow.
my First Nations friend was taken away in the 60s scoop.
Ooh.
And my little Black friend, I do not know where she went. She disappeared, and I don't know whatever happened to her. But it
Right.
was, I'd see a few Chinese people in my school, but not
Hmm.
many of that either. So, I mean, from the time that I went back to school, and I'm almost 60, same thing, the world has changed. There's so much more diversity that's all going on. Don't worry, love. The good
I'm
news is
sorry.
for everybody who's listening, they
I'm
do
in my
know.
office. I have to learn how to I have to learn how to
It's
take it off the.
okay. This is a Zoom recording, so people understand when they're tuning into CHLY 101.7 FM or onto the YouTube station. They do understand that this is a recording that's done over Zoom. And these things happen, phones ring.
I apologize, folks.
No worries at all, darling. But I've noticed that it's changed, right? Things are changing, sometimes for the better, sometimes not so much. But between the magazine and between the Heritage Society itself, and your experiences with living in Canada, have you seen or have you noticed any significant changes in the way people are working together, or more isolated? Are they actually trying to be more
um,
open and understanding, or how do you think it's rolling?
I don't know. I love this country.
Yeah, me too.
You know, when I sing "Oh Canada," it's coming from my heart. I
Yeah,
love this country.
yeah,
I love the folks on this island.
yeah.
People, um, every now and then I see a sign of, you know, maybe you're not comfortable with me or whatever. I'm a big Black woman, you know, whatever. But I'm not. I you know, I don't want to say it. All my family is in the States. I'm gonna stay right here. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
this is my home now. I'll
yeah.
visit my family and go back to the States and so on. But you know, with all the fussing and all the about all the different things about culture and everything like that, people are wonderful. I have been treated really, if I had to, if it was my last days or something, I would have to tell people I have no regrets for making the choice to immigrate to this country. So, you know, that's how
Uh,
I feel.
I can tell you, I'm super glad you're here. I think that it's a much, much cooler place to be with you in it and you here. I mean, as I said, I don't know you well personally, but I've seen you around for years and years in one festival or thing or another or one organization. You're very engaged in community. And I'm curious if you think that that's part of your success, is that you are so very engaged in community.
Well, like I said, I just love people, and wherever I'm at, I feel that I was blessed to be born in a world where there was such a variety of people.
Yeah.
When even as a child, I used to sit as a child We lived in the Bronx, and we had the Hasidic Jews that had the long little
Yeah,
curls.
the
I
curls.
was so amazed with them. I
I
don't know what
know.
that was all about,
Yeah,
but I was very curious and I tried to talk to them.
yeah,
And there was Jewish delis in our neighborhood. I used to eat at the Jewish delis. And there was a lot of Puerto Rican, Spanish people. I really loved their sauciness and their food and their dancing, and I hung out with them.
yeah.
But when I was a little child, I used to sit in front of this cathedral, this beautiful Catholic cathedral, and I would watch all these multicultural weddings. And that's
Yes.
where my love of multicultural really came, because one day it would be this Chinese couple coming out and they would be
Yes.
beautifully and married. And then there would be a Spanish group and a Black group. And I used to sit in front of that. The cathedral was my entertainment. I loved when they had weddings because I used to dress myself up and go, and as a kid, you can just like
Oh, I know you're in
go in there.
Pretendville. It's so wonderful.
Nobody's going to put you
Yeah,
out.
no, that's right. No, that's so true. That's so true.
So that's I feel blessed to do that. And wherever I'm at, I try to create that or be part of that, or wanting to see that again. And we have it. We just need to do it,
Yeah,
right?
we
We
do.
have it
I,
here.
I think what's really lovely about Vancouver Island University is that sense of diversity. It really has brought people from around the world to become students, and so that, and a lot of them are adult students, and so to see people getting their master's degree and they've been living in Iran, or they've been, they've grown up in Sri Lanka, or they've grown up in, other parts of the world, and they're coming here to study and to get their master's degree is just such a wonderful, wonderful,
Just gonna take this off.
just a wonderful opportunity for sure. So I'm also curious, like for now, there's something coming up? We were talking about African Heritage Month as being in February. We are recording this in November, but that's coming up quick, isn't it? Any festivities planned? What's gonna,
Well, we're
what can we
hoping,
expect?
we're all up in air like everybody else. What it's going to happen, it changes from day to day. We
Yeah.
are blessed to believe that we're going to have another live event. Our gala is usually the last Saturday of the 26th of the month. And we have little sprinkle things that we do. Sorry.
That's okay.
Um, we have little sprinkle of things that we do with our museum and literacy and different things that we have spread throughout the month. But then the gala happens on around the 26th of the month. And I want to see something very festive. And I want to give the gals something that they could wear their long, beautiful gowns and be glamorous. So
Oh, I'm so
I'm,
in.
yeah, so
It's
we're gonna put on something that depicts the um what is it, the Met Gala, because you got to wear the mask and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So I'm thinking I want you to come out and be glamorous and come to a glamorous event. That's what I'm planning. That's what we are planning this year. And, so we're staying in touch with all the people in part wherever we're going to held this, and to find out what the rules and regulations are around that. But usually people come to our gala and they love the food, because we usually have Jamaican or an African or Carolina's USA food, and something that flavors that people don't have every day. So
Yes.
people come out for that, and then we have the wonderful entertainment and the music. So we're hoping, with the fingers crossed, toes crossed, and everything, we're able to go back to that. I mean, we left on such an up note. On 2020 was such the last gala that we did, and it was such a beautiful, it turned out wonderful.
I can, I'm already marking it on my calendar. I can't wait. I'm visualizing the gown and pulling out my rhinestones. I can't wait to attend.
Yes, I want the
Marvelous.
glitz and glamour. I want it to all
Glamour.
come out. Yeah.
I think that's
and
great.
and because we had it virtual last year, I thought, well, why not plan the both together? Have the virtual and the live version done together. So we got an A/B plan, and see what happens, right?
So now there's something that I want to talk about really quickly before we move on, because we are coming close to the end of the show already. We're not quite there yet, but we're not far away. And one of the things that I think is really important is that with regards to your magazine, there's a new issue that's coming out, as I understand it, right? And
We're
particularly around Christmas time that we're wanting to get that out. You follow where I'm going with that?
Yeah, we're getting our Christmas issue ready right now. So we're looking for people that might want to advertise in our Christmas issue or want to help the society out. I invite people to go on the website and learn more about the magazine. Yeah, so we're ready. We're getting ready for a Christmas special. I love Christmas.
I do too.
I
I
love,
love
yeah,
Christmas.
yeah.
I was recently going through some stuff looking for something my son had asked me to look through in the garage. My son is 30, and he said to me, he goes, "Mom, you're such a pack rat. You've kept all kinds of stuff from my childhood. Would you mind just going back and checking on something?" And I said, "Yes, okay." And while I was doing it, I found all kinds of things. But what I really found out was that I'm a Christmas decoration hoarder. Like, I have so many decorations.
Yeah.
It's insanity. It's like, where did all that stuff come? Like you, I love the jingle jangle of the season for sure. And while
Yeah.
we are still not quite there, it won't be long. The time is going so very, very quick.
I know it's coming too quick. So
Way too quick.
I decided that maybe we usually try to celebrate Kwanzaa. I might have a packing party on Kwanzaa this year. That's
Yes.
the 26th or 27th of December. So I'm gonna invite some people to come over, help me pack.
Oh, I'm so sorry that you have to move. Was there any resolve off of that at the end of the day? Were you able to? Not so much.
I like to talk to our politicians of this community. I like to understand what is the procedure and what is being happening to talk about some of the rules changing. I'm told that tenants have rights. In this case, I don't see it.
Yeah.
And when the adjudicator used language to use as intimidating language to let the landlord have his way, it is his home. He bought it. This is his house. But for 10 years, my money helped to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
And so just to come and give me an eviction notice for 2 months and be able to use what we have as a protection, the government to help us, to have them use language that sounds like it's impartial, it's not right.
Yeah.
So I would like to talk to our MLA and find out what are they doing, what can they do, what can I do as a citizen to make sure that they're doing what we voted them in to do, and that's to keep our backs
Yeah.
and look after us. What are you thinking when you see wall to wall homeless? And now you have a new flux of homeless people going to some 60-year-old woman and asking a 60-year-old woman to move out in a cold month like January to find something where it's very difficult to finding an affordable place is like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
And having no concerns about that, where do we go?
Yeah.
So you're gonna have a whole new flood because I thought it was just me, but I've been hearing that there's so many people, and it's all about greed. You already have your land, you already have your home paid for, and you want to get like I had a conversation with somebody who is a landowner, and he said to me, I keep my rent reasonable. As long as I got good tenants, I appreciate who they are. And I told him I was so happy to hear him say that. He didn't feel like he had to raise his rent because his places are already paid for.
Yeah.
So why do you need to be greedy and why are you asking for 26 and 3,000 and 3,500? I saw a house today, they asked for $5,900 to pay for 1 month.
No, that's insane.
What is this, a castle, a palace, or what?
Yeah. Yeah. And with our rental market being as tight as it is, there's so many people right now on the brink of homelessness. it just is, and especially in your case, 10 years, never a problem. And then suddenly, boom, it makes no sense. You are in my prayers, and I hope the MLAs are listening and will give you a call
I
and talk
hope
to
so.
you,
I hope so. I don't hold any hope
yeah,
because I've gone through the route. I've tried to talk with them. I tried to understand. I tried to get them to understand what this must feel like.
yeah,
And I can only trust that they're doing a job, but it's not good enough at this point. They
yeah,
need to put more effort into it because people are suffering. People are suffering.
yeah,
This is a really rough time for
yeah,
everyone. And to have somebody throw you out of your home after 10 years of working in the community and doing all the things. And, I won't call any names, but the MLA, they come up to me when they see me in the community, and they're wishing me well, and they say the most beautiful things about my activism or whatever I do, however they want to label it, what I do for the society. And the society is getting thrown out.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I
I
do.
didn't
I
ask you to do
understand.
anything special for me, but
Yeah,
let me understand how does that work? Because I don't understand it.
yeah. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
All right, my darling. Unfortunately, we're coming towards the end of the show. So while my prayers are with you, my hope is that people are going to reach out and help support you. And certainly with your magazine and with the African Heritage Society. How can people reach you, Shalema?
Well, you can always call our number 250-729-9332, or you could go on our website. We'd love to have you check out we just had some new pieces put together on our website. We'd love to you check it out to have more understanding of what the society is all about and what we're doing in the community. But I would say reach out and call.
Yeah.
Let's have a coffee together. Invite me for a coffee. I'm lonely.
I'll invite you for a coffee because you got a whole bunch of wisdom to share. So
Oh,
speaking of wisdom,
yeah.
this is my favorite
Let's
part of the program is always at the end of the program. We've talked about a lot of things in today's conversation, and I'm so humbled and grateful for you coming to the show and sharing your wisdom with us. If, as we leave the conversation, however, I'm curious if you could leave something within our community to think about as a life lesson or a piece of wisdom, what might that look like for you?
Kathy, you just said it all. Be humble, be grateful, be thankful for what we do have. Be aware that we are connected in so many ways. We're even connected to the land, the earth, the animals. We
Yeah.
have to be more conscious people of what we're doing around. I see anger, I see all that's not going to make it happen.
Yeah.
We have to find love in our hearts and for not only ourselves, but for everybody around us.
I don't think I could have said it any better if I wanted to. Thank you so much for being on the program today. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your kindness and for everything that you do within our community. I am so grateful.
Oh,
Uh,
Kathy, you're a sweetie. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I
oh,
really appreciate it.
you're
I'm so happy to have this opportunity. I've always admired your work. I've always admired what you do. And you know how sometimes you can admire people and never get a chance to tell them? I'm so happy I have this chance to tell you today. Thank you for what you do in the
Oh,
community.
thank you. Well, honestly, back at you, baby. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Get that dress ready. Get
I,
that dress ready.
I want to get the dress ready. I'm thinking about it right now. Oh,
Okay.
I don't remember the last time I was wearing a ball gown. I can't wait to do it again. And I
Oh,
certainly will be showing up
wonderful.
to your event. That does it for this episode, however, of Act 3. Listen, everybody, if you really want to see Shalema, again, you're going to get to very, very shortly because she also will be appearing on our Act 3 television program on Shaw Spotlight. So look forward to seeing our new episode that's coming out very, very shortly. We look forward to having you visit us on our YouTube station. If you are finding us through YouTube right now, thank you for subscribing and for sharing, because people like Shalema are what make this show be so successful. it's because they've got really cool stuff to say, and I get to be part of the conduit to get that message out there. So thank you for having a listen to the program. We'll see you next time on Act 3.